Hello everyone, Daizen here. As a 5-year-old player, I've been through a lot of changes in Genshin. And as we know, the core of all the game are characters. And trust me, I've experienced a lot of them.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Oh my god. I won! I actually won! Aw, dang it.
But if you are here, you surely want to know which are the ones that benefited my account in one way or another. But before we get to it, a quick word of warning. Firstly, this isn't a universal list. These characters had been a godsend to my account specifically due to their resonance for my previous units or flexibility while building teams. Secondly, this isn't a pull for this character list. This is just a top 10 of the characters I've got more value out of them in the 5 years I've been playing Genshin. Still, this video will feature 4 parameters in which I will score each character. Investment required to make them functional, return of investment, flexibility, and if, in my opinion, are still worth pulling as of Luna 4. So without anything more to say, let's get to it. The almighty mini dragon reincarnated, a pyro unit with dual mode. White mode, which applies pyro constantly, and dark mode, in which he applies pyro less constantly, but his damage is far greater. As for his initial investment, he's quite flexible and has 3 possible universal sets, and the stats required aren't as strict as some other characters on the list for optimizing him. You'll need attack, crits, and energy recharge. That's why I give our little dragon 3 out of 10 in investment requirement. Now, if you invest enough in him, how much value can you get out of Durin? Well, he becomes a reliable source of pyro for a lot of teams and a great sub-DPS in others. That's why I give Durin a 10 out of 10 in return of investment. He's easy to start using, and if you are up to overinvest in him, you'll get a character that will be adding a lot of damage to your teams. Durin has a great disadvantage to his kit, that being his own element. Pyro is usually a hassle adding it to teams. If you find a team that needs constant pyro application, Durin is a great addition to overloaded and vape teams if you don't care he steals some reactions. That's why I give him a 7 out of 10 in flexibility. Is it worth pulling it as of Luna 4? Yes, even without Hexarray buff, he's a great companion, and it will fit great with free-to-play units such as Sucrose, Fischl, and Xingqiu. His value only increases if you have overcharged pyro-dependent or premium hydro units such as Varessa, Yelan, Nuvalet, and Kinnish. Going to number 9, we got a big recent addition to our roster. Our new Dendro Mommy, a catalyst user which buffed Dendro reactions. Not only that, but her A1 passive is also almost the same as Nahida's C2 effect, meaning she can make Dendro reactions do critical hits. In other words, she can make the old Dendro comps get a massive rise in damage. Her build is straightforward, full elemental mastery and energy recharge. Depending on your luck, it's quite easy to build. That's why I give Llama a 3 out of 10 in investment required. So, considering the previously said, how much return on investment you should get after building Llama? She certainly increases Dendro reactions output of damage from about 80 to 100%. And that's why I give Llama a 9 out of 10 on her return on investment. Llama is a character that can be inserted in any Dendro team alongside or in place of Nahida. She also has a great deal of free-to-play options for running her such as Kuki and Xingqiu. But a small warning, her 2 best teams require premium units such as Nefer or Nailu and lacks in Dendro application, meaning you'll normally need a second Dendro applicator to sustain constant Dendro reactions. Given that, I give Llama an 8 out of 10 in flexibility. Is Llama worth pulling? Yes, she skyrockets Dendro reactions damage, Even if you have Nahida, she'll still be great for your Dendro teams. In most circumstances, Nahida complements Llama's lack of application and can work with free-to-play units. If you already have Nailu or Nefer, she only gets better. The Geo Archon and Osmanthus Wine Enjoyer. John Lee has been a staple of not knowing how to dodge in Genshin for years due to his almost unbreakable shield. Not only that, given that he can defense shred enemies with his elemental skill, he also manages to have a debuffer role and can be used in almost any team as a flexible unit. Best of all, he only wants HP if you only care about his shield. Due to this, I give him a 1 out of 10 in investment requirement. Due to his low requirements, there's not a lot to say out of him. You just stack HP and get a strong shield and a debuff in return. I give him an 8 out of 10 in return of investment. In the current meta of Genshin, John Lee as a Geo unit is hard to find a niche for him. Still, if you are short of a character or have a free spot on a team, you can place him. In the past, I would have rated John Lee an 8 out of 10 in flexibility, but given current meta and the harder it has been getting a flexible spot in teams, I give him a 7 out of 10. Is he still worth pulling? Sadly, no. Shielders has been less useful lately. If you still want a shielder, see Tu Lan Yan is a way better option and you'll get VV Shred. The eternal queen of meta. Hu Tao, still having the crown for being at the top for almost 4 years. Saying that she carried my ass is a big understatement. She was Noah and the whole arc for me. She carried my Abyss runs up to 5.5, only getting power crept by the Pyro Archon herself. I cannot put into words how much I thank Hu Tao for blessing my account. But on the other hand, she is really, really complicated to build. She wants 4 stats: HP, crit rate, crit damage, and elemental mastery. Given that, I'll have to give the queen a 10 out of 10 in investment requirement. Back in the day, I would have rated Hu's return in investment as a 10 out of 10. But given the surge of DPS pyro units and massive power creep there has been, I sadly must give her a 7.5 out of 10 currently. As for her flexibility, once again, her element works against her, being not only pyro but also a DPS unit. She has very limited options, and to make her usable currently, you have to invest a lot into her team. Needing a bird mother, Fiorina and Yellen for her current best team, plunge DPS. That's why I give her a 3 out of 10 in flexibility. Is she worth pulling as of Luna 4? That's a complicated answer given how fond of her I am. But I would say it's worth it only if you really like her and are willing to invest in her. Our little Dendro Archon, a Dendro Catalyst character and the best Dendro applicator in the game. Her mechanic is straightforward. She marks the enemies and they receive constant Dendro application. Her ult creates a massive area in which every character inside gains elemental mastery based off Nahida's own, up to 200 points. For her necessary investment, just add elemental mastery until she gets 1,000 points and some energy recharge. If you can, you could give her crits, but those aren't necessary for her buff. Due to her low requirements, I give her a score of 3 out of 10. Given Nahida general buffing for Dendro teams and her ease of use, she'll return your investment greatly. She's a 10 out of 10 in return on investment. Nahida as a Dendro character is quite versatile and almost a necessity for every premium Dendro team. In fact, having her in your roster unlocks most of Dendro comps. There's a large variety of free-to-play options to build a full team, just as we saw with Llama. There's a reason Dendro revolutionized Genshin, due to his ease of use and low investment required to run them. Nahida is the main pillar in almost every Dendro comp. She's a worthy character to pull for if you are intending to make Dendro teams. The Hydro Dragon Sovereign, Eudex of Fontaine, holder of Hydro Authority. We could keep going, but I think I covered enough of his titles. In short, he's a Hydro Catalyst user, a DPS unit which does massive damage through a powerful beam. And it is ridiculously easy to get him going. Although he has a high ceiling cap, with low investment you can get him doing quite good damage. You'll need HP, crits, and a tiny bit of recharge, earning him a score of 2 to 5 out of 10. Depending how much you want to invest, although overinvestment will increase tenfold his damage. With such low investment requirements, the return on investment will be simply out of this world, even with free-to-play teams, given he is one of the few self-sustaining units on the game. Meaning he can activate most of his passives alone, as well as healing himself. He can even run as a one-man team and still demolish enemies. That's why I give him a 10 out of 10. Being Hydro means he has great flexibility. His kit at C0 requires 3 different element characters to activate his passive effects, which, after triggering 3 different Hydro-related reactions, his Hydro Beam increases its damage by 160%. With his C1, he just needs 2 reactions, meaning he gets a score of 10 out of 10 in flexibility. With the previously said, I would say it's definitely still worth pulling. My love, my obsession, the Pyro Archon, my wife, and the current queen of DPS. What more can I say about her? She's cracked as fuck, and funnily enough, she requires low investment to get her blasting about everything on the game. She is one of the few characters that has low requirements to get her going, but high ceiling if you are willing to invest her to the max. That's why I give her a 4 out of 10 in her initial investment required. Now, if you really invest in her, you'll find your time spent returned tenfold in sheer damage. That's why I give my wife a 10 out of 10 in her return in investment score. But sadly, not everything is bright for her. She's a really niche character with niche supports required to get her max potential. She needs Sitlali and Xylonin, 2 5-star units. And once again, she's Pyro, giving her almost no options for flexibility. So that's why I give her a 1 out of 10 in that score. Should you pull her? No. She's my wife. Get yours. Well, I guess if you want to pull her, I can let her aid you for a bit. But don't get the wrong idea. She is and will always be mine. Hydro Mommy. Do I need to say more? Oh well, she's a Hydro Bow user, which with her ult she shoots Hydro coordinated arrows after any of the characters on the team do a normal attack, which gives lots of Hydro application to enemies. Her downside: investment-wise, she's a complicated character to build, needing HP, crits, and energy recharge, making her 7 out of 10 in her investment required score. If you build Yelan, you get a 10 out of 10 return in investment. Not only is she a good Hydro applicator, but her personal damage is massive, giving you a secondary source of damage in your teams, enabling you a lot of Hydro reactions, and basically having another Xingqiu for your teams. Yelan being Hydro makes her extremely versatile in almost every team you want to make. In fact, you'll find she will become the best wildcard character you'll have whenever you need a unit to fill an empty Hydro spot in any team. She's a 10 out of 10 flexible unit. Her pulling value hasn't decreased a single bit since her release. If anything, it has increased exponentially since most, if not all, recent characters need a hydro applicator for their reactions. Vape, being one of the strongest reactions alongside Melt, is just another reason to get her given. She'll enable most of Pyro characters to constantly vape attacks. Here we will have a controversial spot on the list. But hear me out. Chlorinde, even though she's been massively power-crept by Veressa and Flynn's, she's still a god-tier character. She's an Electro DPS sword user, which imbues her normal attacks with her elemental skill, making her do constant Electro attacks for 7.5 seconds. While being in her imbued state, she'll be gaining Bond of Life up to 100% of her HP with each normal attack. And after executing another elemental skill attack, she'll consume the Bond of Life acquired to heal Chlorinde's life. Really technical, right? Anyways, she getting this niche Bond of Life mechanic means she'll need a niche build, and being a DPS, she will also need crit stats. Meaning she's a demanding character to build, giving her a 10 out of 10 investment requirements score. When you first try her, you might be disappointed with the damage each normal imbued attack does. But don't be fooled by her. She is fast, really fast, meaning she's more of a chip damage character than a big PP number character. And believe me, her damage stacks a lot. If you are up for investing in building Chlorinde, you'll get a return on your investment you might be surprised. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. Chlorinde is a character that can run in multiple teams such as Aggravate, Overload, Electrocharged, and even Lunar Charged. Giving her quite a variety of supports for running her, she's quite flexible with free-to-play units such as Fischl, Dendro Traveler, Kale, Xingqiu, Sucrose, and many others. For an Electro unit, she's quite flexible, giving her a score of 9 out of 10. Given everything, Chlorinde is a character worth pulling considering you like her style of gameplay and are up to the task of building her. She's certainly a way more flexible character than Veressa and Flynn's. Do I need to say anything about our little histrionic Hydro girl? If anything, we need a second Fiorina. Her buff is the best one in Genshin. She gives universal damage buff to all types of damage. The condition: loose or gain of HP by any character. The funny thing: her elemental skill reduces the HP of all characters on the team. So now you say, so there's a catch, she needs a healer. Well, yes and no. Her charged attack turns her into a healer, making her continue charging her buff stacks. Given that she has 3 styles of building, I will score her based on what you want out of her. If you solely want her to buff, you just need to give her HP and energy recharge, giving her a 1 out of 10 in her investment score as a support. Now her most common build for her is a support/sub DPS. With that, she'll need not only the previously mentioned stats, but also crits, skyrocketing her score to a 7 out of 10. Finally, for those with deep wallets and willing to sacrifice their marriage, C6 Fiorina can be built as a pure DPS, having a slightly different build. With this, you can expect an investment requirement score of 10 out of 10. So, what would you expect to be your return in investment for Fiorina? This is a no-brainer 10 out of 10. With her, you'll find all your characters' damage increase to ridiculous levels. Given that Fiorina is Hydro, the most versatile element in the game, she can enter almost every team. She can buff any DPS, and she has healing and sub-DPS capabilities. 10 out of 10 flexibility. Is Fiorina worth pulling? If you can go for her C2, you have to go for her C2. The previous 10 characters made my journey through Genshin way easier. Each one had helped me in multiple ways, not only endgame content. And even though I haven't used some of them in a while, I don't regret a single bit having them on my account. If anything, I love seeing them there as a testament of how much we have been together. With nothing more to say, please subscribe if you liked the video and leave a comment. Trust me, this video took a lot of effort and time to make. Leave in the comments which characters carried your account. If this video gets enough attention and comments, I might do a follow-up with commentors list. And before leaving, I have to do something